Hello and welcome to the Doc Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike DeLuke, and it's my mission to help you lead a happier, healthier, and more prosperous life, both personally and professionally. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Motivational Mondays. I'm Dr. Mike, and today we're going to talk about the importance of setting goals. Everywhere we look, we see others that seem to have it all. The best practice, the best family, house, cars, vacations, etc. As top achievers, it's so easy to feel the pressure to have and do those same things. Maybe if I only worked more hours, saw more patients, hired an associate, sold to a DSO or OSO, got a second job, etc., I could have all that too. It's so easy to get caught up in this endless and empty quest, trying to have what others have, or appear to have, as the case may be and often is. And if you're not careful, it can cause you to make bad decisions, to take you down a path that you never intended or wanted to go down. So, you ask, how do you decide what you should and shouldn't do? Who you should and shouldn't follow or emulate? Who you should and shouldn't turn to for advice and guidance? The answer lies in your vision and your goals. Vision and goals are words that are tossed around quite a bit in the self-help and motivational circles. And it's often implied that people actually know what they mean and how to have vision and set goals. But while most people are familiar with the words vision and goals, many can neither explain nor create either one of them. So let's take a moment to look a little deeper into what they actually are and how we can create a vision and set goals that can help shape our future. Vision is defined as the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. The definition of a goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. I'm going to repeat those. Vision is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. And a goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. So while vision and goals are often used interchangeably, they're clearly not the same thing. They can, however, be complementary. And that is what we're going to discuss today. Let's start with vision. Have you ever taken the time to truly figure out your vision for your life? Your blueprint of what you want your life to actually look like? Not what family and friends want you to do or to be, not what society says you should do or be, but what you want to do and be. And I don't mean what you want your life to look like when the day comes for your time to leave the world. In my opinion, that's a bit too macro and frankly too morbid. Instead, let's focus on smaller time periods and time points that you can still hit and arrive at when you're alive. Here's what I want you to try. After this podcast, take a moment to close your eyes and think about what you want your life to look like in 1, 5, 10, and 20 years. And I mean literally what it looks like. Pretend you're looking at pictures of yourself, your family, your friends, your possessions, your career at each of those time points, 1, 5, 10, and 20 years. What do you see in the pictures? Are you single, married, or divorced? Sick or healthy? A parent or grandparent? Alone or surrounded by loved ones? Where are you living? What are your most prized possessions? Again, do this for each time period in 1, 5, 10, and 20 years. Picture it in your head with your eyes closed. Open your eyes and write it down. That's your vision for your life, the compass you will use to guide all of your decisions. A helpful tip is to start further in the future, say at the 20-year mark, and then work backward to the year one vision or your vision in a year. It seems counterintuitive to do it this way, but when you stop and think about it, you need to know where you want to end up before you can start making those decisions on how to get there. As the great Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. So once you have your vision established, how do you get there? How do you create a life that fulfills that vision, that creates that picture? You probably can guess the answer: goals. Goals help you take the necessary steps along the way to create the life you envision in those pictures. So let's talk a little bit more about goals. A Gallup poll taken from December 5th to December 19th in 2022 surveyed 1,803 adults aged 18 and older and found that 7 in 10 Americans were actually likely to set goals in 2023. They reported that goal setting was widespread, but most common amongst young adults and especially those who are college graduates. Most likely a good number of the people listening to this podcast. Goals most commonly involved improved health and fitness, followed by improving one's finances. They also found that only 1/3 of goal setters plan to take 3 key steps to reach their objectives. They define these steps as 1, write them down, 2, make detailed plans for reaching them, and 3, focus on them throughout the year. Only 1/3 we're going to take those steps. We know these steps work and increase our ability to achieve our goals. In fact, a study conducted by Dr. Gail Matthews, who's a psychology professor at Dominican University in California, looked at goal setting of 276 individuals and concluded that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. You are 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. See, when we write things down, we clarify our thoughts and transform them from just hopes and dreams into actual tangible objectives. It also lets us remind ourselves of what our goals are, especially if you put them in a place where you'll see them every day. So why do so many people set goals, but so few take the steps that researchers have proven to be necessary to achieve them? And the answer? It's much more difficult and it's more time consuming to physically write the goals down versus just thinking about them in your head as a thought. Plus, it's harder to hold yourself accountable if you fail if your goals weren't written down. So it's a bit of like a self-protection mechanism that we use, so we don't have to really face the reality if we fail. The irony is, we're much less likely to fail if we actually write them down. So just to recap, you need to picture what you want your life to look like in 1, 5, 10, and 20 years. Write it down. Then set 3 to 5 goals for each of those time periods, 1, 5, 10, and 20 years, that will allow you to reach the milestones necessary to fulfill your vision, and write those goals down as well. Then pull this list out monthly to keep your vision and your goals in the front of your mind. This will help you focus on them. And for some people, you may even want to do it daily, put them in a space where you can see them daily or weekly. But at the very longest, monthly, you need to revisit these goals and look at them to keep them in your focus. Now that you have a vision and goals for your big picture items of your life, you have developed the skills to do this for the smaller projects and obstacles that you'll face and encounter along the way. For example, say you want to publish an article in a journal. You first envision that article in print, what it will discuss, when it will be published, etc., and then set the goals to help you fulfill your vision. You can do the same thing with your practice. Maybe you're a growing practice and your vision is to be doing 500 starts a year in the next 5 years. Set the goals now that will allow you to get to that point in 5 years. Maybe you're in the later stages of your career. You want to retire in 5 years. That's your vision. Now set the 3 to 5 goals that'll help you get it done. And look at them and keep them in your focus throughout the days and weeks and months, and you will achieve it. So at this point, some of you may be thinking, Mike, life is too unpredictable. There's no way I can plan out what I want my life to look like in 1, 5, 10, and 20 years from now. To that, I say you're right. I agree. You can't plan it all out, but you can create a vision of what you want it to look like. Then, when things go awry along the way, you can just adjust your goals as needed to help you still fulfill the vision. After all, isn't that better than just whimsically swaying back and forth like a feather in the wind with no true direction, just hoping you're going to land safely at some point, but not actually knowing where or how you're going to do it? I'll end with a personal story. 2004, I was an orthodontic resident at UConn, and my wife and I went to a workshop in New York City that was put on by Robert Kiyosaki. Many of you will know that name and recognize that he's the author of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book and series. We had no money, no assets, and over $250,000 of combined student loan debt between us, which I know by today's standards, some of you have more, significantly more, but in the early 2000s, that was a big number. One of the speakers talked about having a vision for your life and setting goals. So during the lunch break, my wife Renee and I, we literally sat down at a table and we created a vision for our lives and wrote it down, along with our 1, 5, 10, and 20-year goals to fulfill that vision. They were very detailed. We talked about when we wanted to start a family, how many kids we wanted to have. We had just gotten married, so we were starting to try to plan our lives together, when we wanted to start having the kids, the type of house we wanted to live in at each of those points of our lives, when we wanted to be in different types of houses, the type of practice we wanted to build, and what that would look like at the 1, 5, 10, and 20-year mark, the vacations we wanted to take, the cars we wanted to drive, the second and third homes we wanted to purchase and where we wanted to purchase them, the boat we wanted, the age we wanted to achieve financial freedom by, and the age we wanted to be in a position to retire. And guess what happened? 19 years later, we literally have accomplished almost all of them. And the vision we created for our lives has actually come true. It's almost scary when you look at the list and look at how it's played out. And I don't think it's a coincidence. And while the path to achieving those goals was full of twists and turns and was often quite different than what we had anticipated, because we created the vision for our life and set tangible goals and wrote them down and reviewed them regularly, they became our reality. And you can do the exact same thing. Have a great day and a great week, everyone. And remember, you have been blessed with the ability to do amazing things. Thank you for watching this episode of the Doc Podcast. Be sure to visit theorthocoach.com to get access to CE courses or schedule a private one-on-one coaching session with me. And remember to join the Doc community on Locals for more great content designed to help you succeed both personally and professionally. Just go to Locals and search for the Doc community. You can also find Doc on Instagram at @theorthocoach. And remember, you have the power to do amazing things.